Hello, dears. You know, how how amazing is it to hear that we know the truth within our heart? You know, the heart being a symbol for wisdom. Wisdom being a word, think of it as without opposite. Wisdom. And then think of the ego as something competing with that in an attempt to be that wisdom, that wisdom, that wisdom. What I love about self-inquiry, those of you new to the work today, that's what we do here in this community. We identify and question the thoughts that drive us nuts, crazy, depressed, worried, fearful, angry, all of that. What are we thinking and believing that would cause that emotional and would cause us to strike out at another human being in a way that is symbolic, literally, of war. War with the self, war with the world, the people we love and care about so deeply. What is that? Okay, well, that's what we do here, you people new to self-inquiry. Nancy, you have a question. And all of you new, welcome. And all of us, welcome. Here we are again, together again. Who sang that song?
Good morning.
Good morning so far, honey.
Are so good.
Yeah.
We got news yesterday that the son of very dear friends killed himself.
Oh,
And also we sang in a beautiful concert, which was so uplifting. The music was beautiful, and we had family and friends that came. So all of that happened on the same day, this sort of tragic news where we know that our dear friends are suffering very intensely right now.
yes.
And my own life, so joyful, so much beauty and celebration in my own life that same day. And it's just, oh my gosh, just how to navigate all of that.
Honey, it is. You know, did you say, how do you navigate all of that? Or you are navigating all of that well? What did you say? I mean,
It's when these people are suffering so intensely, but I'm very joyful in my life, and there's sometimes, well, guilt for them, but I know that's not helpful.
the first thing that comes to my head when I look to myself is I balance. I balance. The joy doesn't leave. But I balance respecting the joy. I balance out of my love for the other human beings in that situation. It leaves you as the dependable one, the open one, the one where people can say or do anything around you. It's safe. That's what it looks. If I say my heart is wide open in a situation like that, that's what's going on in me. We can find our work and just be so filled with joy as a way of life. That brightness, the ego can begin to own it, and it just shines, and I'm this and compared to you, and I'm here for you. That's just the ego taking over that brightness. So all of you in this, just balance, just you move down the light, but not the joy, the expression, the I am and you are not, appearance that you're not experiencing, but you remember the rest of the human race. They don't have self-inquiry. They're mourning, they're not there yet, whether they have it or not in that situation. So you're balanced. and you're open for all pain, all suffering in the field of what those people are experiencing, and you in the deepest respect for what you have known so well in your life. It's not as though we don't have a reference point for it. We just don't have to live there anymore. I really appreciate your question and just talking to you. You found your way. You know, you've obviously you found your way, not too high, not too low, but the empathy, the compassion, the connection, it's all there without the grief. Other than the grief you can see in the people around you, and you understanding what that grief is and what you have survived, so that you can be that presence of what it looks like to love and experience loss, and to remain. Love is a word, in my experience, for understanding, a word for connection, a word for I hear you, a word for, my arms are open, and you could stand in a corner and not even be observed and experience what I'm talking about, or be the center of what's going on. As a good friend, and experience the same thing. Just love for your fellow man, and the gift of peace, and the joy of, and someone dies, and the joy of knowing they'll never suffer again. This is Earth school, and we're just kind of, anytime we die, we've just kind of graduated. And for those of us that think we haven't died, life is a dream. Life is a dream. Do you understand? Do you understand the difference between suffering and joy? We all understand both. We've all had the privilege of experiencing both. So for those of you new to the work, we take the polarity of I've got a problem, I'm in trouble, or I'm hurting, or whatever that is. I'm depressed, I'm unhappy, he doesn't care about me anymore, they don't understand me. On the other side of that, we have self-inquiry, and we're left eventually. It's like being born into a life where there may be apparent suffering all around you, but you understand in the absence of your own suffering, and that's the gift this work gives us. It gives us a way of being in the world, but not really in the world. And if it looks like we're in the world, we're not this huge, big presence in the world, but just family, or next door neighbor, or the person you bump into in the grocery line. Just living this amazing life. It's almost like living life as a secret, but not on purpose. It's like, what is it? What is it about that person? Well, those of us in the work for a while, we understand what that is, and it's nothing to glorify or look at me. It would not be this work. Just love is balance. It's a natural way of being. Yeah, and it can just shine so bright. It can just shine so bright, but I just see you at that, I'm thinking kind of wake, and just doing it, just being there lovingly. I see you, we see you. I appreciate you, honey. Thank you, Nancy. So good to see you.
It's good to see you. I want to ask about the moment, the internal moment when, let's say, we got the news, we're sort of walking around holding that, and then where I feel myself, you know, almost this idea of who would I be without that thought, like just happy for a moment in my day, ready to sing in the chorus, and then a feeling of guilt that somehow I should be holding vigil in a way for what I know they're going through, and doesn't
Yeah.
feel good
And,
though.
and maybe that is holding vigil.
What the being
Your,
happy.
your joy, you're being happy.
Mm.
But no one has to know I'm happy.
Yeah, right.
And no one, it's up to the beholder to judge me. But I'm respectful, not too high, not too low. At a funeral, I don't stand up and say, "Why are all of you suffering?"
Yes.
It's because we understand. That's a question we don't need to ask anyone. We understand. Yeah. And what do I want in that situation before the work found me? That's what I give today. I give to others what I want as a human being. In those old situations when we were feeling the same way.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And you, Nancy. Gosh, I'm so glad you're in the world. Oh, it's Sergi, honey, you have a question. Hey, Sergi. Hi, honey.
Yes, I
Yes. What's going on, honey? What's going on?
yes, I have a question. So you know what? I have been. I was sick when I got sick when I was 3 years old.
Yes.
So you know what? And I was recovered after that. But you know what? It still have some effect on me, and I don't know how to shake it off. You know what? What would you advise to me?
And what was the question again? The last part? And I don't know how to.
And I don't know how to shake it off.
Oh, don't
How
shake
to,
it off. I, for one, understand perfectly. And when I don't, I ask you and you clarify it for me. If I have a problem with the way you speak, that's my problem. Do you have a problem with the way you speak? I don't.
No, I don't have a problem with the way I speak.
You don't have a problem with the way you speak?
No, I don't have a problem with the way I speak.
Well, so where's the problem?
The problem is not in the way I speak. You know what? The problem what I was sick when I was a child.
3 years old.
Yes, when I was a child.
So
When I
you,
was very little.
and it was very,
It was very heavy, you know, and it was very heavy, you know, that heavy what I had an operation on my brain.
yes.
You know, and so, you know what, I don't know how to move on for me.
Okay. So you need to move on.
Yes,
Is it true?
yes, I need to move on.
Okay, so consider it. You think it, you believe it, slow down. Look at your life. Look at your life. And notice your life.
And
Did you go to did you have breakfast? Did you get out of bed? Did you shower? Did you you need to move on.
yes, I understand what I need to move on. I just don't know how.
Well, I haven't added the question yet. I left you out there hanging with it. I apologize for that. You need to move on. Is it true?
Yes, it is true.
Okay. Okay. Now notice, Sergi, how you react. What happens when you think the thought, I need to move on?
You know, I don't know what happens. Mhm.
Now look at those images in your head of past and future. When you're thinking the thought, I need to move on. Notice the images of past and future.
No, I don't have any images. No, I don't have any images.
Did you just say I don't have any images?
Yes.
Okay, so you do have images. You can't have memory without images. Images and words together make the illusion of memories.
No, you see what I have? I have very little of memories from the time when I was sick. You know,
So did you just say you had very little memories when you were 3?
Yes.
Oh, so I appreciate your memory. That's a memory, Sergi. Did you sleep in a bed last night?
Yes, of course.
So you have memory. You just saw a picture of your bed, or you could not answer the question. You saw a memory of you in bed.
Yes.
You know, I think you're moving on. There's only one area I want to move on in, and that is to understand the cause of all suffering and how to end it. And once realizing that, I work it. If I've got a problem like you, I recall a past memory and I move it from my head to paper. And as I question, that memory shows me the cause of my suffering then is the cause of my suffering now when the ego offers it up. This is a lot of information. So, Sergi, I am going to ask you another question. When you think the thought, I need to move on, what happens in your head when you think the thought? What happens in your head, the images in your head that happen when you think the thought, I need to move on?
I don't know why, but I see the eruption of volcano.
Yeah, you see an eruption will come. Honey, you see an eruption will come if you move on. That's terrifying. An eruption will move, an eruption will happen in your life. That's what happens in your mind when you think the thought, I need to move on. And how do you react when you believe the thought, I need to move on, and you see that eruption? you freeze. You freeze in your life. You do nothing but sleep, eat, do what you can, and repeat.
Yes.
Whatever your life consists of. Could consist of going to doctors, all kinds of things. It's just that's how life moves on. Just like the rest of us, Sergey. As a human race, we are fearful too. And in this community, just like you, we're looking at the cause of our suffering. You see that images of the future. And you see that and you feel it and you're frozen. Okay, so in that situation, who would you be without the thought? To be happy, I need to move on.
Would I be how
Yeah, just notice your life without the thought, without that terrified thing in your head that happens when the ego offers up the boom thing.
So your question is who would I be without the thought, but I need to move on.
Who would you be without the thought, I need to move on? When you want to go look for a job or you want to take a walk or...
I would be just a machine, you know what I think, but I would be just a machine. Just some kind of a robot.
It could be, sweetheart. You know something that the rest of us don't know yet. That's fascinating, Sergey. That's fascinating. That's fascinating. That is fascinating idea. Just give me a little more time in that. It's amazing. I need to move on. Turned around, I don't need to. Try that one on. I don't need to move on.
I don't need to.
So just try it on. Why might that be so? Number one, you don't want to be a robot out there knowing you're a robot. The mind is the mechanics of ego.
You know what? But sometimes I think that I want to be a robot because I don't want to live this life.
Okay, so who would you be without the thought? Without the thought, I need to move on. Go join life as a robot. Have an amazing time.
But how can I do that?
By stepping out of the house. Is there anyone to stop you?
No. But you see, but I have a family. You know what? I have a family who cares for me, and
Yes.
I don't want for me to die or to do something stupid to myself.
Like stepping out of the house? Like moving on? Ask your family to go with you as you move on. Invite them.
Yes, I know. But what if I move on?
You can move on and take your family with you. They might say yes, they might say no.
Okay. What do you mean by saying move on?
What do you mean when you say move on?
Well,
That's what we're dealing with.
I mean to move on a personal level. You know what I mean? I think what you mean. You mean to find a better job for yourself or to
Yeah, so find a better job. Will your family stop you?
No, my friend would not stop me.
Uh-huh. So you are free to move on. Family won't stop you.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, honey, I think you're onto something. You know, Sergey, here's what I'm going to suggest. That some of you on this call are really steeped in self-inquiry, really steeped, experienced in self-inquiry. And if you would show up in, what's it called, the chat on the side? Is it chat, Keith? Yeah, chat on the side, and say, Sergey, I'm available to work with you. And then Sergey, if you look for that in the chat, then you'll see a facilitator that is ready, maybe a couple of them, that are ready to work with you, and they're experienced. They've been there, done that, and you'll have oh my goodness, someone to support you in self-inquiry.
But how do I reach out how do I reach out to them?
So you'll just connect with them in the chat. You just respond.
Yes.
If you need help, then I have staff that'll connect you that are looking at it right now. If someone posts volunteered, and my staff will get to you and hook the two of you up. And that's happening now. Oh, Sergey, you have so much to give. You have so much to give. I am so glad you found self-inquiry, because what you need is something, as far as I know, no one can really give you. And this work will empower you gently to show you how to move in the world, just like it does for the rest of us. Okay, honey. You know, I call this the work, and I don't call it the work for nothing. So follow the simple directions, hook up with facilitator, really experienced facilitator, and support you in that. And Sergey, thank you for speaking for all of us. You know, there's not one of us here, I would bet, that hasn't had the thought, for one reason or another, I need to move on. Okay, dearest. Okay, this is fine. I love your emoji. Okay, so Ram, you have a question.
Yes.
Hey,
Thank you.
Ram.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm attending this for first time today. I've been
Oh,
following your work.
really?
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Well, welcome to Self-Inquiry.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I see I'm in the recording, but still I'll go ahead with a personal question. Um, so I'm facing a situation, and I actually joined the session thinking that we'll work together. But anyway, I would like to hear what comes from you when I share this situation of mine with you. Um, I am I have had a relationship breakup earlier, and at present, relationships seem to start someone. Um, but because of my experiences in the first relationship, and because also I'm very uh, because of the aspirations I have in my life, I had this intention that I want to have a partner who is also interested in the inner work, like the self-inquiry, what we do now when something happens in life, to look at oneself, what I can change, and not go into the blaming game. I'm not sure. I'm trying my best to do that as
You know,
as a
it could, one suggestion, if I'm
Mm.
understanding what you're saying, one suggestion that pops into my head is do self-inquiry with yourself and judge that new partner, that new romantic relationship in your life.
Mhm. Mhm.
Judge her. I'm assuming judge her on paper, in private. And it will give
Okay.
you a relationship with her that without prejudice of the things she says and does and the little things that you want her to be more interested in, things like self-inquiry. And I don't require that of Stephen. My husband, his name's Stephen. I don't
Okay.
require that he do this work. I don't require him to accept me. I don't require him to love me and be kind the way I want him to. I just do my work, and I'm grateful for my life with Stephen. Any flaw I put on him, I move to paper. I don't take it out on him or try to change him. I take that flaw I put on Stephen, and I move it from my head to paper to that Judge Your Neighbor worksheet. Always free, those of you new to the work, always free on thework.com. And you don't have to enroll, leave your name, nothing. It's just a download. You click it, print or transfer.
Yeah.
And that's what I suggest. And because that's how
Okay.
I live. And if I've got a problem
Okay.
with Stephen, I look to myself. That way he doesn't ever have to grow. He doesn't ever have to change. I'm growing. I'm changing. I'm having a better relationship. And I'm kinder and wiser and more thoughtful and connected. But not for any reason other than just to live my life in the absence of war.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing your, especially your personal experience.
You're so welcome. And if you need a facilitator, just go to chat and could be someone that'll
Yeah,
support you in a worksheet.
can I ask one more question?
Mhm.
Yeah, so I'm actually already, to the best extent, time attempting whatever you shared now, not using work, but my own methods that I follow
Yes,
usually, like their
yes,
therapy, and like I have my own modalities.
yes.
But what is happening is like, and I received your input, and for sure I want to try that, and it's very valuable. Thank you so much for that. But the other question that also comes along when I listen to you is that when I am already attempting this, there are like two parts. Like one is you cannot look at the other person and just you work on yourself. That's happening. But there is this other part which is kindly like every day when there is a conversation, it slightly sneaks in, and
Yes.
puts it agenda there. Like, okay, ask the other person also to work on themselves. You know,
No.
so
You can invite them and they will or they won't. Just don't expect it. Even if they say they will, doesn't mean they will. Just invite them. That's all the power I've got. People are entitled to their yes or no.
okay.
Know what's best for their life. Maybe it's not me.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay.
Yeah. And I want
Thank
what
you.
they
Yeah.
want. Without me, they think they'd be better off. Then I want to support that by being absent, whatever they want is my happiness. Because we all have a right to be free.
Hmm.
And I love the people in
Thank
my
you. Thank
I
you for the influence.
You're welcome, sweetie. Thank you for the question. You're not alone.
And,
Rachel.
and you were about to say something.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
you were about to say something. I interrupted.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. We'll send you the replay.
Okay. Thank
Okay.
you.
You're welcome. And those of you that support
Thank you
this
so much.
today, thank you. It's really, really strange here financially. And those of you that are supporting this, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. It allows us to show up, and we appreciate you. Rachel, a Judge Your Neighbor worksheet. Honey, you have a worksheet?
Hi. Yes, I do. I
Hi,
do.
Rachel. And those of you new to the work,
Hi.
Judge Your Neighbor worksheet, there are 6 questions on it. And we look at a situation where we were upset in some way, everything from anger, just real anger, to mild irritation. And we fill in a worksheet. There are 6 questions there. And we anchor in a time and place. And what is the situation? What did you write for number 1 on the Judge Your Neighbor worksheet?
Okay. I just want to tell you that I fell in love with you like about 13 years ago.
Oh,
I walked into a store and I was just not doing great. And I was looking for a self-help book. And I just saw that book, Loving What Is. And I said, okay, this is what I need. And I had never heard of your name. I didn't know anything about Byron Katie. It was like, so I just took the book and I read it and I just loved it.
oh
So
my,
then I called my daughter. She was about 20 at the time. And I said, you got to read this book. So I tell her what the name is, and she's like laughing at me. And she's at the school at the time, she was taking like a self-help class, and the whole class was based on your book.
oh,
And she's like, Ma, where are you? How did you never hear about her? And so I am like so like emotional to be speaking to you. It's like a dream come true.
oh my
So
God.
I'm
Oh
very
my gosh,
excited.
I love that. So that serendipitous thing that happens, with our children, the people we care about in the world. I love that so much.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it really even funnier is that she's an English teacher, and she's always looking for vocabulary words. So I said, well, Katie has on her website, there's like any word that you could think about emotion, she has it all there. You have your list of all the emotions, and so it was really unbelievable. Okay,
That's
so
good
I wrote.
for all of you new to the work. It's good, when you look at how do I react when I believe that thought that I'm questioning, and you can't really get in touch with that emotion or name it. You can go to what Rachel is pointing us to. It's an emotions sheet where you can see all the emotions and the feelings that go with it, and you'll be able to have a name for the emotion, and it will also support you to identify the emotional and become aware of the power of what you're thinking and believing, and how it bounces us emotionally all over the place, from heaven to hell, from hell to heaven, and everything in between. Oh gosh, Rachel. Okay, sweetie. Number 1.
Okay, so I haven't done a worksheet in a long time, but my marriage is like not doing great, and I thought that I just have to do this. So I'm starting with the belief, like what I believe, or because I did like the whole
Actually, what did you actually
like
write?
I have the step 3, the Judge Your Neighbor worksheet. Should I start from there?
Yes, on number 1,
Okay.
Judge Your Neighbor
Okay.
worksheet.
So I am hurt with my husband because he behaves like a narcissist.
Okay, now what situation do you hold in your mind's eye when he is acting like a narcissist? What comes to your mind when you were filling in that sheet? Was it
So
was in the kitchen, you were in the living room, you were in the car, where he is acting like success in the situation in your worksheet.
So when I was doing it, I was thinking to myself, like, I need to hold on to some sort of situation. So like what comes to mind now, it's really silly, but I guess it kind of like, hurt. And I think it might be something. So the other day I was talking to him about a magazine that I thought maybe I would sign up for. And me and my daughter was sitting there and he said, "Oh, that's a waste of money."
Okay, so let's anchor in that one. Okay?
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
So he behaves like a narcissist. So are you in the car with him at the time, did you say?
No, we were just sitting in the dining room, and there was this magazine that we were talking about, and
Okay.
I was saying, like I could
So
order this. I could,
So you're in the dining room and you say what you said. He's behaving like a narcissist in his response.
Right.
He says, "That's a waste of money. That's a waste." He's behaving like a narcissist. Anchor there, be there now. Look at his face, his body language. Notice where you're sitting, he's sitting. How do you react in that situation when you think the thought, "He behaves like a narcissist"? Get in touch with emotionally what happened.
So I feel like he's angry, and I'm feeling I think I'm feeling like sort of pushed aside or like stepped on, kind of like.
So you just give up on it.
Well,
I'm hearing you pushed it. You just pushed
sort
it.
of like fighting though, like
Yeah, resentfully.
I sort of feel
Resentfully,
like,
you just give up on it.
yeah, but I also feel like give up on it, like talking to you about it. But I'll go do it anyway. Like sort of
Rebellious.
rebellious. I think that's it. Rebellious.
So how do you react when you think the thought, "He behaves like a narcissist," and he just said, "That's a waste of dollars"? You become rebellious.
Yeah.
Now, rebellious, look at those images of the future when you see you doing it anyway, that's rebellion. And then you see the past where you've caved in. And you see the past where you've done it anyway. Notice those images of past and future as you sit at the dining room table in that situation where you're believing he's a narcissist. Now notice how you treat him, what you say, you do, your facial expressions, just notice, be there now. How do you react? Look at you through his eyes. See
Well,
what
I guess I overreact. I mean, all he said was that it's a waste of money. Like, I feel like
you
I
feel
even
like you feel like you can't even order it, and then you think you're going to order it, and rebelliously.
yeah, I feel rebellious, but I also feel like
Resentful, like he's stopping
like
you from doing it, which he's not.
right. But at the same time, I'm also feeling like foolish
Mm-hmm.
because
Or
because I
just,
overreact.
yeah, you overreact, okay? So he behaves like a narcissist. Okay, so be there now, close your eyes without the thought, he behaves like a narcissist. You make this statement, he makes a statement. Who are you without the thought, he behaves like a narcissist? He's not saying don't do it. So be there now. Hear his words, that's a waste of money. Take it in, he could be right. And it doesn't matter, you can order it anyway. I don't hear if there's anyone stopping you. Who are you without the thought? Sitting there with your husband in the morning. Without
Right. I guess that's like maybe
don't
it's
guess.
like,
Don't guess.
no. Okay, I'm just feeling it. I'm feeling it. Like, why do, like you said, like, I'll go buy it anyway. So then I'm feeling like, why do I need him to approve?
Okay,
Like,
and you
he
don't.
doesn't have
You're
to,
just doing heads. Your ego's just throwing you here and there. And who are you without the thought? He behaves like a narcissist. When
who
he's
am I
a waste
without
of
the
money,
thought?
and you, yeah. Who are you without the thought?
I
He
think that, like, I feel like maybe he's just worried about wasting money. But I also feel like
Yeah,
why the anger?
which doesn't stop you. What, honey? You also fear, what about anger?
I'm feeling why the anger? Like, why? I'm feeling he's angry at me.
You know, just be there now with him.
Okay, so I'm
He's
so I'm trying to
okay,
feel
slow
like,
down. We're talking over each other now. Okay, I'll give directions and follow them as closely as possible.
right. That's what I need. I need new directions. Like, I lost it. Okay, let's go
So
back.
don't try to figure this out. Who are you sitting at the table when he says that's a waste of money? Who are you sitting at the table without the thought he's behaving like a narcissist?
I don't know. I feel like I just can't get in touch with that person. Like, who
But you don't have
am I without that thought?
yeah.
It's like something inside me is like fighting and saying like, but he is. It's like,
Okay,
it's
so
like,
but he is, and he is, you're thinking in that situation. Turn it around, he behaves like a narcissist. I behave in that situation. I
I
behave.
behave like a narcissist.
Yeah. All he said was that's a waste of money. That's his opinion. And look at what you do with that. He didn't say buy it, don't buy it, nothing. He just, to him, it sounds like a waste of money. He probably isn't even aware of what magazine you're reading or anything.
Okay. And then, but so what do I do with the anger part of it? Like, because he says it angrily. So I feel like when I ask myself,
okay, so stop just a minute, Rachel. In his world, it is a waste of money. He doesn't live in your world.
okay.
I behave like a narcissist in that situation. Give me an
Right.
example.
Because I'm not letting him say what he thinks, what he feels.
So just notice that. And notice how familiar that is in your relationship.
So it's like, I feel like it's like, it becomes like a mirror. Like I end up mirroring him. Like I do the same thing that he does, and then I become the narcissist by not allowing him to say what he thinks.
Yes. And believing it. You're just narcissistic. He's just, what he says is just no value to you without your criticism. And the criticism's okay, mind happens, but believing he's a narcissist in that situation, like you have no choice, like he's got all that power over you and you're in some kind of prison with a narcissist and he's angry on top of that. And no, he didn't say don't do it. You know him, he expresses. That's how he expresses, so he can get through to you. That's one thing you might check out. He has emotions. He has emotions. He says that's a waste of money, and he's angry. He has emotions. A true narcissist, you could look up the word.
So it's like I'm looking.
Sounds like breakfast talk to me. You're looking at a magazine and he's expressing himself and then you're
I think it's the intensity of the way he says these kind of things, like the anger that comes with it. That's the hard part for me to deal with. Like
it could be that that's what it takes for him to get your attention.
Or maybe like when he's frustrated because I'm not letting him say what he wants to say. So
Okay.
it's gonna
There
come
it-
out like
There it is. There it is. Yeah. Yep. Is he angry? Be there now. Or is he trying to be heard?
So I feel like it's like me sort of growing up and sort of putting the anger aside, like and looking at the situation, like not letting the anger become the story here. Like his anger, that's what's hurtful. So if I could not go to that place of,
For me, it's a sidebar. He's angry. In that situation, he's angry. Is it true? And make that your sidebar thing. You know, in other words, continue to work. He behaves like a narcissist. And then go to, in that situation, he's angry. Is it true? A whole new 4 questions turnaround on anger. And then, you know, is he angry or trying to be heard? Let's look at 2. In that situation, when he to your mind,
So
when
I
he-
wrote, I want my husband to recognize that he needs to take responsibility for his behavior and not blame me.
he's blaming you when he says that's a waste of money. He is blaming you. Is it true? Consider that question. Be there now. He says, that's a waste of money.
Well, I think when the blame is like,
Let's don't discuss it. How
Huh?
do you react? Let's don't
right.
discuss it. He is blaming you in that situation where it seems to you he's angry, and he says,
Right. Right. But I feel like he's blaming me for his anger. Like it's my fault that he's angry.
yeah.
Well, that can't be true. I mean, unless I act like a real jerk, but that would be his problem.
So let's slow it down now. Just witness, be there now. He's blaming you for his anger.
Right. Like, I mean, he'll say sometimes like, it's your fault that I'm angry, So
He'll say that. And let's look at he's blaming you. Is it true? He's blaming you when he says that's a waste of money. You haven't even ordered it yet. He's blaming you. Is it true?
Well, it feels like it. I feel like it is true.
And how do you react when you think the thought, he's blaming me for his anger?
I hate it. If he's blaming me.
Now let's look at how that shows up.
But actually, like I'm thinking about it now as I'm feeling it, like I'm also feeling sort of a mix of like also feeling guilty that maybe I didn't like discuss it with him or give him a chance to like, have a say in the matter or,
So just be there now in that open mind without the thought he's blaming me. For his anger. The anger you imagine him to be experiencing. He's blaming you when he says, that's a waste of money. He's blaming you. Is it true, Rachel? And the answer is either yes or no. It's not a big conversational thing.
Okay.
It's
So
yes.
Yes, I still feel yes.
And how do you treat him? How do you react? And how do you treat yourself when you think the thought, he's blaming me for his anger? And all you've said.
I turn off. But I also feel, some guilt.
Drop the but. I turn off. Continue with how you react in that situation. How do you react? How do you treat him? How do you treat yourself? What images of past, future are going on in your head? And notice the emotional. Look at those images of past, future.
I go back to being rebellious and sort of protecting myself.
He's blaming me for his anger in that situation you just described. He's not blaming me for his anger in that situation. I'm not hearing
Well,
that.
how,
I'm not hearing
well,
that.
how do I know that? How do I know that he's not blaming me?
Very good. You don't. He didn't say so. You don't. So he either is or he's not, as far as you can experience. He's not blaming you for his anger. All he said
So
was,
it's
that's
so it's like if I can't know for sure that he's blaming me, then my answer has to be a no. He's not blaming me.
so just try that on. Be there at the table. He says, that's a waste of money. He's not blaming me for his anger. He says, that's a waste of money. He's not blaming you for his anger.
He's frustrated.
Wow, we're moving from anger to frustration. And look at his personality overall. Is that
He
really how
he probably thinks I spend too much money. He probably thinks I spend too much money on stuff.
And is he, if in fact he were thinking that, would he be right? You know, just look to yourself.
In his mind, he would be right. I mean,
No, I'm not asking that. Is he,
okay.
would he be right if that?
No, I don't know.
So just notice.
Not for myself. No.
Okay, and he hasn't said that either. So it could be you're both on the same page.
But yeah, and even if he thinks that, and I'm not spending too much money, so he's thinking that, but that doesn't mean it's true.
Very good. In his world, it's a waste of money. In your world, it may not be. And it's for you to decide. You're free. I'm not hearing he stops you from magazine subscriptions.
So it's like his frustration is because of the way he views it, but that doesn't mean it's true.
You're assuming he's frustrated too. Maybe he just wants to be heard. Sometimes it's very difficult to get a word in edgewise when some of us are really, responding.
Right. I think I sometimes, or more than sometimes even, need things black and white. Like, is he wrong or am I wrong? Is he right or am I right? And really, I think for
me,
it's
I
like,
don't know if I'm right or wrong. I just look at how I react when I believe the thought. And if I'm angry, frustrated, any of that, then I'm not okay in myself. It has nothing to do
right,
with the other person. And that's the power of self-inquiry. I can't change other people. I am my
right,
own full-time job. People say what they say. They're frustrated or angry when they are. I can't prevent that. I'm into self-help.
right,
Self-help. And our partners and the people in our lives are all available in Earth School to push every button we've got until we can understand the cause of suffering, our own suffering. And it can never be what another person says to me or about me. If that makes me angry, it belongs on a worksheet because my ego
right,
has just gone wild. And it's my job to understand the ego and its fight for survival. It can never win. And to understand it's not going to give up. It's not going to stop. So what am I left with? The power of understanding. And that would be this work. And this work requires all of you silence. It's an exercise. It's a meditative process, an exercise in silence, not arguing with oneself, but to just stay anchored like you, Rachel, in that situation at the table. Let's look at 3 in that situation.
Okay. In this situation, so he should go for therapy and stop denying his shortcomings and listen to what the therapist tells him.
Okay. So he should go to therapy. He should stop denying his shortcomings. And he should, what was the third one?
Listen to what the therapist tells him.
Listen to what the therapist tells him. Is it true? You know your husband. Look at your overall relationship. Look at it.
Well,
he should go to therapy. And the answer is, okay, so feel the no.
No, because
No, sweetheart, no. When you get into becauses, it's not this work, it's justification.
Okay.
It's justification. So just this is so good for all of us, for you to be our teacher today, so all of us can see where we get stuck and the work starts to
spin. I feel stuck.
And the ego starts to spin because it's into justification and everything it can get into to move us from self-inquiry and the stillness it takes to discern what is ego and what is divine, basically, what is real seen without agitation, without just this open mind with everything. I'm describing peace and how to live in that peace. He should go to therapy. Turned around in that situation, when you notice what you're thinking and believing, in that situation turned around,
I should go for therapy.
So try.
Or he shouldn't go for therapy.
Okay, so don't guess. Linger.
Okay.
The other example will wait. I should go to therapy.
I have been going. So.
Okay, so good. See, that's a beautiful thing. He should go to therapy. Is it true? Notice how you treat him. You've answered that question. Notice how you treat him when you think the thought he should go to therapy and you're believing he's angry.
Right. And I need to stop trying to control him.
Okay, so do that now. Be at the table. He just says, that's a waste of money. He should not go to therapy. So just try that on. He expressed himself.
Yeah, and it feels better because.
No, because.
Okay.
Without the thought, he feels
Right.
better. It feels better. And look at him. Does he continue to read the newspaper? Is all well around the table other than what you are thinking and believing?
Yeah, he got over it.
Yeah. So just be there. Be there now. Look at that guy. He got over it. There are two at the table. One of you got over it.
Yeah, he got over it and I didn't.
Yeah.
I'm still angry at his response, and he'll see it in the mail the next day and he won't even care.
It could be he wasn't angry. He just has to be very strong to get an opinion past you or to you. You have a very quick mind, a beautiful mind, very quick. He should stop denying his shortcomings. And he has said that's a waste of money. He should stop denying his shortcomings. That's a shortcoming, is it true? Are you partners in marriage, partners in life? He should stop denying his shortcomings. For example, he says, that's a waste of money. Notice how you treat him and how you treat yourself when you're believing that thought.
Right. I should ignore his shortcomings.
Or just listen and know that's his opinion and you have yours, and you're free to subscribe or not. He's expressed himself. He's not holding any kind of grudge or anything. And I would question, he's angry. And again, and then.
Right. And why do I need him to say, oh, that's a great idea? Like, it's okay. He doesn't have to love, like you said, he's not interested in that magazine. So okay.
And he could mean, that's a waste of money. You don't need it. You're good the way you are. I mean, he may think, you are just, don't need any improving, or, you're just okay the way you are. And he wants you to know it.
That's really funny, because a long time ago, a while back, there was this class I wanted to go to for parenting, and he was like so against it. And you're bringing it up, like it's reminding me that I could look the same kind of like, he looked angry, and to me it was like so hurtful, but maybe he just thought I was a great mom and I didn't need it.
You could ask him. This makes beautiful discussion it's what I love about this work. It gives us great conversations with the people we love and care about, the people in our lives that we work with, etc. He should go to therapy, turned around. I should go to
therapy.
And self-inquiry is boy, sure cuts to the chase. It's an option to therapy, and some people do both, and some people do only the work, and some people do only therapy. But on self-inquiry, on the work, it works alone, it works with all therapy, it doesn't oppose anything. It's self-inquiry with no motive other than to wake up to reality, the difference between what we're believing and life.
Right.
He should stop denying his shortcomings. Turned around in that situation, I should
stop denying his shortcomings. I should stop denying my shortcomings.
No, let's love the one you're with first. Don't do one and hop to the next. He should deny his shortcomings. He should stop denying his shortcomings. I should stop denying his
I should stop denying I should stop denying my shortcomings.
Okay, let's do his shortcomings. One at a time. I should stop denying his shortcomings. Why might that be? You saw him as angry, and now you're having second thoughts about it. In some way, we're waking up to what denies the ego of its shortcomings. You know, it's not a shortcoming. That's what he needs. That apparent anger, what you're calling anger, is how he communicates with you. You're strong, honey.
Yeah, that's really true.
He needs that to be heard, not anger. This is what it takes for him to feel heard. He knows you. You're going to order the magazine or not.
Right. And I can see that anger turning into frustration, like his frustration.
Yeah. Yeah. Notice how you treat him when you think the thought. He should go to therapy, and he's angry and all of that.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's like when you're having
And he
when
hates therapy anyway.
table, you know, you're sitting with an enemy or at strongest, and someone that needs all kinds of character changes before he's acceptable. Character changes meaning, you know, expressing himself and what you're perceiving to be angry, when maybe he's just trying to be heard. I experienced you open to that.
Yeah, that's a hard one.
Oh boy, it is, sweetie. It is. It is. Oh my gosh, you know, people could just get in my face and have just yelling at me, just screaming at me. And I listen. And my thoughts are, how loud do they have to get before I can hear them? This listening thing is so good. There's no one in my life that isn't a teacher, especially those closest to me, like my family, the people I
And, yeah, and I love it that I don't have to get angry. Sort of like he could scream and be angry, and like I don't have to get angry anymore. Like I don't need that anger.
You can
I could
just
just, I don't
listen.
need that.
You can just listen, whether
Right.
it's loud or soft. Listening is listening. But through the ego's judgment, we don't really get the person yelling, which they're angry. I'm opposed. He's not fair. The ego just takes it and runs. He should listen to what the therapist tells him in that situation. Is it true when he says, with some passion behind him, that's a waste of money, and goes back to his newspaper?
In that situation.
How do you treat him when you think the thought? And how do you treat yourself when you think the thought in that situation? He should
Well,
listen to what the therapist tells him.
right. I'm resentful. And
Notice those images of past, future in your head. When you're thinking the thought, he should listen to what the therapist tells him. And all he said is, that's a waste of money, and went back to his paper.
right. And I'm resentful and it feels so pointless.
Yeah. Notice you were joyful, curious, sharing, and then you believe the thought on your thoughts about him, and notice what happens to your interest in the magazine, everything. It just, you go from sharing happily, not really that attached to it, just sharing, and then you believe these thoughts on Tim when he responds to you. You believe these thoughts you've written down here. Notice what took your joy, what took you emotionally from joy to this state of anger and resentment and insecurity.
Right. And it's also like, I know he's not going to go to therapy, and I know he's not going to listen to the therapist, but I'm still saying he should go when I know he's not going to go and he's not going to listen. And I put myself back in that like resentful place of like, you don't go to the therapist.
Like he's the cause of your suffering in the moment, when it's what you're thinking and believing about him,
Right.
is the cause of your suffering in the moment. And you're free to leave. You're not chained and held captive there.
Right. Yeah.
So turned around, he should listen to what the therapist tells him. Turned around.
I should listen to what the therapist tells me.
Yeah, so do that now. Live that turnaround now. What does your therapist tell you?
And the therapist tells me not to have expectations and to let go.
Okay, so live that turnaround now. I should listen to what the therapist tells me. And he says, that's a waste of money. Now live what your therapist, listen to what your therapist tells you and live it in that situation now.
Right. Like,
So do it now.
okay.
Tell be him,
So,
that's a waste of money. Now live.
okay. I'm not expecting you to think I should get that magazine. It's okay. I can understand that you're worried about the money, or you don't like all these magazines hanging around the house,
Yeah.
but I'm going to get it anyway.
Yeah, no expectations from him. You have a choice, just what you've said, and let go of what he said.
And then I won't get hurt because I'm not expecting him to care about my magazine.
Well, do it lovingly. I should let go. Do your own work. He's where he is. He's reading
Right.
the paper. He's so beyond it. He probably has no expectations of you, and he's let go.
It's so fascinating because sometimes when I bring these things up, like a few days later, I'll say, we were talking about that magazine and he can't remember it. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, you don't remember that I said I want to get a magazine and you were like really not nice about it and you're like, it's a waste of money. And he's like, I don't, he can hardly remember the whole thing. He's like,
Well, so just notice. It was not a big
yeah,
It was not a big deal for him. He expressed himself and moved on.
right,
Let go without expectations on you. He's living what your therapist is asking you to live.
that's why he doesn't need a therapist.
I think you're catching up with him.
Yeah.
Look at him. He's moved on, and you're still hanging on to it. He doesn't even remember what you're talking
Yeah, and
about. He's so let go.
yeah.
Expectations.
And I even feel like resentful that he can move on and I can't. I get stuck and he keeps going. And it's because I'm so busy thinking about who's wrong and who's right. I get so stuck there.
You know, it's the ego defending its right to life, and it doesn't have a right to life because the ego is a state of mind. It's nothing. You can't take it out, feel it, touch it, nothing. It's an illusion of apparent
And it
past
gets
and future, of not now. And that means in my world, not ever, because what is now past with no proof other than the ego's world. So to understand that is why I refer to this work as loving what is. It's where the ego and your true nature meet without opposite. Let's look at 4. In that situation, if you
I need my husband. Right? I need my husband to make his marriage more important than anything else and realize that it's so important to work on it.
Okay, so be there now. For me to be happy in that situation, now live this turnaround. I need me to make
my marriage more important than anything else.
Anything else that you're thinking and believing about him narcissistically. He's reading the paper. He's moved on.
Right. And if my marriage is more important than anything else, then why am I hooking on this silly magazine that he got angry about?
Because you're stuck in the ego's trance.
Right.
Of past future. Let's look at 5.
My husband is immature, afraid, timid, has no self-awareness. Oh gosh, this is really mean. Haughty, manipulative, fake, boring, and very limited.
Yeah, and you're saying it's mean and it's hurtful to you because look at you in that situation. He's moved on. He's expressed himself. He responded to you. He didn't ignore you. He just said, yeah, it's a waste of money. It's a waste of money, and went back onto his life. In that situation, he is mature, unafraid, with plenty of self-awareness, kind, interesting, and unlimited when it comes to living with you.
Wow.
And in that situation,
That's scary.
there's the litmus. Yeah, to a narcissistic mind in that situation, you know, there are narcissists, and then all of us have those things running in some situations. It's another term for ego. In that situation, what I'm thinking and believing about my husband is, and read it, immature, frightening.
1 second, I lost you.
In that situation, my thoughts about my husband are immature.
Okay.
Fearful.
Afraid. So I'm immature.
No self.
So I'm being immature and afraid and timid and without self-awareness and haughty and manipulative and fake and boring and very limited.
Yeah.
I see that.
You're meeting his wife.
And it's so scary because you have to give up.
Honey, you're meeting his wife in that situation. And there's nothing boring about you or fearful about you to him or immature about you. He's responding to you honestly. He's not saying don't do it. He has self-awareness around you. He knows you're gonna buy it or not. He's not being mean. He's being kind. He didn't say don't do it. He's not ordering you around. He's giving you his opinion, which is what you asked for. He's not manipulative. He's straight up with you.
You know, I can feel that. I can feel it like physically. Like as you're saying it, I can feel it like fighting with the ego. I can literally feel it. It's like physically, like having to push it away, like, you know?
And he's mature. He knows how to deal with you.
Right.
Yeah. You ask him, he gives you the opinion. He knows you're going to.
I mean, in his way.
Mm-hmm. So let's look at 6. What is it you don't ever want to experience?
I don't ever want to feel ridiculed, manipulated, lied to, forced, or forced.
Forced to.
And then then I wrote, oh no, because I went to step 2.
Okay, now I'm out of time. And in the interest of time, I'm going to leave this with you. And for now, let's turn around. In that situation, I'm willing to feel ridiculed. I'm willing
Right. So I wrote, I look forward to feeling ridiculed, manipulated, lied to, forced.
Forced to believe him.
Right.
Okay. And I look forward to feeling ridiculed, manipulated, lied to by him.
Lied to and forced.
To do what you imagine him wanting you to do, which is not by the magazine. He didn't say that. He just gave you his opinion, and because you spoke and he meant it. Okay, honey, I look forward to feeling ridiculed, manipulated, lied to, forced to. Why might that be? All of you new to the work, why? Because if you ever feel that way again, you know your work's not done. So like in this situation, living with your husband, anytime you're upset about what he says and does, a worksheet on him, because it has to be what you're thinking and believing that is the cause of your suffering. And it could be that it's true he's angry. We're just looking for the truth. And in this case, you really notice it wasn't that. He's just expressing it. Okay, dears. Okay, honey, thank you, Rachel, for being our teacher today.
Thank you so much.
Boy, and when you're doing...
Thank you. I think I'll need to do a worksheet every day.
Oh, honey, well, I look forward to that. You know, I just, oh boy, this community, you blow my mind. And thanks to your contributions, we are here every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And speaking more to that, tomorrow, I love you. Tomorrow, it's in my head, and hopefully see you soon.